Hey, I'm Frank Castle. Another episode of the Spartan Code coming out, and today we're going to talk to Harvey and his mom. And like the other episodes, if you've been tuning in, I'm talking about veterans in the dive community here locally in the Panama City. I think they just had lunch at one of my favorite places, but I will let them introduce themselves and talk about some local history and local dive spots and bourbon
Yeah,
because you know
my favorite subjects.
yeah, I bourbon is a very near and dear thing for anyone that's been in the armor community that trained at Fort Knox. But I'm heartbroken that they took armor out of Knox and moved it. But uh, you can't win them all.
Nope, sure
So
can't.
Harvey, on to you, man.
How old am I?
No, no. Introduce yourself. Introduce
Oh,
your mom. Let's talk about
okay.
however we want to do it.
I joined the Navy in 1981, and I came here to Panama City in 1983 for dive school and became a Navy diver. But a prelude to that, my mother brought me here to the United States from England on board the SS United States, and I was only 8 weeks old, but uh, she can certainly remember more of that than I can.
Well, there really wasn't a whole lot to say because I didn't do very much. You know, with an 8-week-old baby, you can't do too much.
Yeah.
I wasn't allowed to go out on deck with the baby, obviously, but I did have a very good cabin steward, so he took care of him quite a lot while I could go and get some fresh air. Yeah.
Nice.
But I really, the only main place I went, I had a cabin close to the dining room, so I didn't have to go far for that. And then the other place I went was maybe to the lounge. I think I might have made it to the bar once.
Once.
I must have done because I had the ashtray. Those are the days when people were smoking too. Not me, but
Yeah, I remember
well,
the
I
days
was
when.
actually. I was at that time too. Yeah, but there really wasn't a lot to say. You know, I mean, all I really was concerned about was getting here in a hurry because
Yeah.
it's pretty sad to leave my home and my parents. And I mean, my mum and dad came on the ship and sat in the cabin. In fact, we have pictures of them with him and me in the cabin. So, and that was the first time I really saw my dad cry. As we were leaving, yeah.
Yeah.
So I was kind of in a hurry to get it over with, yeah. But I did cross the Atlantic on the Queen Elizabeth, which was in contest for speed with the SS United States.
Wow.
So, yeah, I've actually crossed the Atlantic 3 times. I've
I
flown
should.
it twice.
Wow.
So, yeah, so that's basically my story. And then um, we when we moved, when we lived in California, in Pennsylvania, until we moved into California in 75, wasn't it?
Mm.
Yeah, 75. And then since then, I've been kind of drifting around one place or another.
Yeah. Well,
Well, he has. I haven't so much, but
I know the deal. Sometimes when you're in the military, you just got to go where you got to go, and um, that's kind of why when I got off active duty, I settled here and
yeah,
got my sand
yeah, yeah,
toes in the sand and stayed.
yeah,
So, but that's I can't imagine having the experience of being able to come across on a ship like that.
yeah.
I just
It's quite an experience, believe
yeah,
me.
And
Well,
those ships were ocean liners. They weren't like the cruise ships that we know of today.
yeah,
They were actually
oh
designed to be
no.
troop carriers, and since they didn't go into that role, they made them into passenger ships. But they were made for speed,
yeah.
Yeah.
and the SS United States still holds the transatlantic record today.
Really.
Yeah.
Yeah, it beats the Queen Elizabeth by, I'm not quite sure how much, but not too much. But it was a contest, because
I,
she's not, the Queen Elizabeth, the ship is not there now either. So,
yeah. So, my great grandmother, I remember having lunch with her, and I ordered the shark, and she's from Australia.
uh-huh.
My grandfather on my mom's side got out of the Navy, married an Australian, yada yada. I
Yeah.
ended up here,
Yeah.
and but she said we wouldn't eat the sharks. We were worried about the sharks eating us
Yeah.
back then. And I'm like, wow, it's like there's a piece of history and they're going to turn it into an underwater wreck, which is going to
Yeah.
create a lot of sea life and structure, and
Mm.
people are going to dive and fish on it. And it's just like, I think it's interesting to be able to see that whole dynamic of coming over here on it, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
it's final being here when it's going to be sunk here, hopefully soon.
Yeah. After it sat in Philadelphia for 25 years.
25 years.
Well, I want to go over and see it over in Mobile before they start tearing it completely apart. I think they're just mainly working on the interior of it right now.
Yeah.
And I wanted to take my mom with me, but she,
I don't want to see it. I want to remember it as it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I did see. I have a picture, photo of it, which he sent me of the ship coming into Mobile, wasn't it?
yeah, a friend of mine and I
Yeah.
went over and
And
took
it
pictures
looked.
of it coming in
No,
port.
you couldn't see all the junk that was on the back end of it, and the rear of it.
Yeah.
But I'd rather just remember it as it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely understand that.
And my dad took pictures as it was leaving Southampton
Oh, really?
to come here. Yes. Mm.
Wow.
That's one of the pictures that we gave you was of the,
Yeah.
it's a black and white photo, but you can see how pristine the ship was back in 1961.
Yeah.
And that was actually, it was already in service for almost 10 years, I think, by then.
Wow. Yeah, it's a piece of history that's gonna be here to stay, you know.
Yeah.
It's too bad they couldn't keep it, just like they did with the Queen Mary. The old Queen Mary is in Long
Yeah.
Island.
Yeah, in California.
In California. Yeah. Yes, too bad, but
Well, they're going to save a section of it with the stacks, and they're going to make a tourist center with that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know where that's going to be located, but I imagine it's going to be somewhere around Destin or.
I hope so. I think that would be a nice thing to, tie in people that want to go out there. And, being here, I have the luxury of when I want to go diving, if it's bad weather, I'll be next weekend. But sometimes people come here and they want to go diving and we have bad weather, and,
Just have to go find a place to drink beer and eat oysters.
yeah. I know I've seen rocket lanes with a 4-hour wait before, so everybody gets the same idea. But yeah, do you want to talk about your diving experience a little, Harvey? And
Sure, yeah. When I came here in 1983, I came here for salvage training, hard hat diving, surface supplied. And once I got that training, I got stationed in San Diego, and I was on a destroyer tender there. And I dove on just about every ship known to man while I was in San Diego.
nice.
I was at a place called the Consolidated Divers Unit, and there was a lot of divers there. And I dove on everything from tugboats and minesweepers all the way to aircraft carriers, the Kitty Hawk and the Constellation.
Wow.
We actually changed the propellers on both of those ships in the water, which was
In the water.
quite an amazing feat. Yep.
Yeah, I got somewhere for the book. I have like a bunch of photos, and one of them, I love technical stuff and all that. So I took a picture of the main gun being removed and resealed, and I mean, it's a 20-foot solid steel gun.
Massive.
Yeah, and it's just like I thought it was I was just fascinated by it.
Yeah.
I loved it, and it was like, man, I loved. I almost I probably would have stayed in the Army in '96 if they had given me the Army diver MOS.
Oh, you really?
Yeah, because
Yeah. I worked with a lot of Army divers. I trained with them initially in my first diving school, and they were a group of really great guys.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah.
I tell you, I mean, the military community, we're getting smaller and smaller, and the dive community, there's people that do both military and recreational, but it's not often you run into the intersection of both.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah. You want to talk about tanks and bourbon?
Tanks and bourbon.
Eggs and bourbon.
So, I think I've shown it before, but one of the things that I'm proud of, don't really talk about it much in the book, was when I got to be a armor officer. Technically, I was cavalry, but you got to be armor to get cavalry, and that was pretty awesome to have that experience to go from enlisted as a tanker and do the officer thing too. And yeah, I'm really happy that I was able to do that in my career. And
Yeah.
and I'm here to hear about the trip over and your career highlights, because I got a whole book, and I just want to share. I have a community and some of my card playing friends. In the book, I'm going to talk about playing spades, because four people on a tank, four people for a spades game. So that's the game that armor crewmen always play, and similar to hearts. And it's not a lot of people, unless you're in that niche community, know how to play spades or want to.
Right.
So some of my card buddies, I ran into contact with you, and I said, "Hey, come on out, man."
Yeah.
And yeah, I appreciate you showing up. And but yeah, tell us more about.
Well, San Diego was the beginning of my career, and I ended up going on a Westpac out of there, and went over to the South Pacific and did a lot of diving over there for 6 months, and came back for more training here in Panama City. It's called mixed gas diving training, and from there I went to Hawaii and got stationed at the mobile diving and salvage unit over there, and did a lot of amazing dives over there. Met some really great people and lifelong friends.
Yeah.
And during that time, my youngest brother, I'm the oldest of three, he got interested in diving, and so he came to visit me while he was still in high school. And we dressed him up just like a Navy diver. Everybody thought he was just a new guy on the block, but he was only in 10th grade. And we had him on the comm boxes talking to the divers while we're diving, and helping us do maintenance and things like that. And he just loved it.
Yeah.
He ate it up, and he was destined to become a Navy diver as well. So we have two of us, and of three brothers we're Navy divers. The middle brother's a Coast Guard guy. He was into search and rescue, helicopter crew chief.
Yep.
So my mom gave birth to three military men.
There you go.
Came over all the way from England just to do that.
How he ended as a diver, I don't know, because when he was a year and a half old, or maybe almost two, we were at my brother's house with a swimming pool, and his cousins, my nieces, we were all going to go into the swimming pool. He didn't go anywhere near the water. He screamed if I looked like I was going to get in the water, and for him to end up as a diver after screaming because he didn't like the water, it's strange.
We all have to overcome our fears somewhere, right?
I was about to say, I'm like, well, got to fear water, become a diver. Got to fear heights, become a paratrooper.
Right.
Yeah. I know how to swim to keep myself afloat, but I'm not a real swimmer. My dad was and my mom, but not me. I mean, I liked it. I like the ocean,
Yeah.
as long as I'm not too far out. I like to
Yeah.
know where the bottom is. But I do like to be out there, but not in the sun, in the hot sun.
Yeah. It's growing up, unless you're much younger than me, you probably got some sun damage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just part of, I guess they got serious about it in the 90s or 2000s, but I'm all like, hey, my dermatologist said the damage is already done, so
Yeah.
most of it.
Yeah.
Of course, in England, it was pretty hard to get a real suntan because it's just maybe out for a short while.
Yeah.
But when I went to Canada, I really got badly sunburnt there because I was on the beach with the sand and I actually fell asleep on the beach. But I've learnt not to do that anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I went all the way across Canada. Yeah. It's nice. Anyway.
Well, my grandfather, her dad, he was really big into making homemade beer
Mhm.
and wine. And so when he passed, he gave all that equipment to me, and I took it up and got into making beer. So I did that for a long time. I skipped the whole wine thing and decided I wanted to look into making bourbon. So
Yep.
that was a lot more fun. Uh, I enjoyed the beer making. I've specialized in making stouts and porters.
Okay.
But the bourbon really intrigued me. So um,
Were you part of the beer club here?
no, no.
Okay. We used to have a pretty active beer club, and
Okay.
so
So, anyways, I looked into starting up a distillery, and everything that I read said go and tour distilleries. So that's what I did, and I ended up at this distillery over in Crestview called Timber Creek Distillery,
okay.
and they liked my ideas, and they decided that they would like to try and make my own brand of bourbon. So they said, come up with a story and a label. So I did.
Nice.
And the hard hat divers of the old days wore the big copper helmets called the Mark V. They were referred to as copper collar workers. And so I decided to make a tribute bourbon to them.
Nice.
And the people that inspired me to do that were the Army guys that rode their horses into Afghanistan, and they have a bourbon called the Horse Soldier Bourbon.
Yeah.
And I said, if you Army guys can do it, us Navy guys can do it too. So I came up with a label and I came up with a story, and we've got it going on now.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, when do we get a sample?
Today.
It's been a lot of hard work for him. Yeah.
I bet. And, I tell people, I'm all like, hey, doing stuff like this, like even the podcast and book and making your own brand of bourbon, having, Kelly on with a Big Blue with a dive boat, having Joe on talking about the Warrior Memorial Reef. There was a lot of effort behind all this stuff.
Oh my gosh, yes.
There's a ton of paperwork.
Oh yeah.
And I'm kind of like, why is there so much paperwork? Is it just to discourage people? I mean, and it's just, my hat's off to you, because I do know the effort that it takes, and
And we're still at it. I
Yeah.
mean, it's ongoing, and I want to get established to where I can make substantial donations to charities. And right off the start, I decided I was going to go ahead and donate $1 per bottle sold to the Man in the Sea Museum. So I like the work that those guys have done over there. They have done an amazing job with that museum over there. So
yeah, one of my buddies when I moved here, Gordon. Some of the stuff that he worked on as an engineer on the Navy base is over at that museum.
Yeah.
Some, some other guys that I've dove with before recreationally, they used to mix their own gases in their garage. Because, in the early days of mixed gas, this was it, They still had the garage, people doing stuff in their garage. And I am, my hat's off to you to making it happen.
Thanks.
So, yeah.
Were you born and raised here in Florida?
Oh, Lord, no, I'm an immigrant. I'm from a country formerly known as Texas. I joke about it, but yeah, it's, I tell people Texas is a little different. And if you grow up from there and you have roots and heritage there, we take things a little different from a Texas standpoint. But I was on my way back to Texas and I stopped here and met a girl and stayed for the diving. So
yeah, my son and daughter are in Texas, in Fort Worth, actually. Yeah, when I came here to Panama City for dive school, I just fell in love with the place. I was like, you know what, I'm going to retire here.
Yeah.
And of course, I was so young at that point, I had no idea how to go about it, but it ended up happening. My last command was the experimental diving unit, so I retired out of there, and I stayed.
Yeah. You want to talk about anything else?
Yeah.
No?
I've had a good life. Some bad things.
Yeah.
But I lived through the bombing in England, but we survived.
Yeah.
Had a lot of stories to talk about, and sometimes it was funny, and sometimes it wasn't. But we made it.
Yeah.
But because I like to move around, how I did at one time, not anymore so much, but because I did, I thought I must have some gypsy in me somewhere.
Well, when you wake up in the morning and you have anti-aircraft guns parked on your street in front of your house, you're in a bad area.
Yeah. Yeah. I think when I got back from Iraq, the first or the second time, I forget which, people were all like, well, what's it like over there? And I'm all like, well, you're outnumbered, you don't speak the language, and you're supposed to do stuff. And it's very hard, and it's like, it's a real bad neighborhood.
Yeah.
And, when you make mistakes in that kind of situation, there's consequences. And, it's hard sometimes to let other people fail when you worry about the consequences of that.
Yeah. I just try to face every day and hope it goes well. Same for everybody.
Yeah.
And I met a lot of people who don't act like they don't like me or something. And I figure, if you've got your own opinions.
Yeah.
And I just I treat people like I like to be treated too. And of course, that doesn't always happen.
Yeah.
But you just associate with the people who do like to treat other people that way. So.
I tell people as a veteran, I've kind of insulated myself by finding good people to hang around and keep them around.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that the good people that I've met brought you all into my circle.
Yes.
And I love hearing the story of the old ships. So I always had this kind of dream of wanting to jump on a ship, and most cargo ships will let you go as a passenger on a ship and didn't just go on a cargo ship. I almost did the military sea lift command coming back from Iraq for some of the vehicles. And yeah, they were looking for volunteers, and I was like, buddy, sign me up. I want to see what that's like. I want to be in the water in the middle of the Atlantic. Go, woo.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite something on a ship going across the Atlantic. The first time when I went to Canada, I was on a little Dutch ship. There's only 3 decks. My cabin was right next to, down on the bottom deck next to the engine room. You were talking about the smell of oil and stuff. I smell. But the thing is, it was September, and the 2 days before, but just about a week before I sailed, I watched the sinking of the Titanic on the movie. So we went the Northern Atlantic. So I'm all the way there. I'm looking for icebergs, but there weren't any, obviously.
Yeah.
But that was not the thing to do. But I mean, it was a real small ship, yeah. But it was okay.
Yeah.
I survived it.
Would you?
But I didn't get seasick. Sometimes I thought I was going to, and they said, "Don't stay in your cabin, just go out on deck." But I was in a cabin with 2 other girls, and one of them was really sick. I don't think she came out of the cabin at all, as much as we tried to. And they weren't friends of mine. We just met them when we were on the ship.
Yeah.
In those days, you went in a cabin, you didn't know who was going to come with you.
Yeah.
But it worked out, yeah. And it was good. It was quite an experience.
Yeah, I cannot.
But I was afraid I did get very seasick one time. I went from England to the Channel Isles, which is a part of England then, off the coast of France, and it was the worst storm they'd had for so many years.
Wow.
And everybody was sick, even the crew was sick. And then when I thought I was going to go to Canada, I thought, oh, what if I'm seasick all the way over there? But the first sign of it at all, I just went out and got on deck.
There you go.
Took some crackers and an apple or something, yeah.
Well, I tell people every time I go diving over in the Gulf, I always like to have something like crackers or chips or something.
Yes.
Afterwards, because I'm like, it just something, the texture, I don't know. It just
I don't know what it is, but the first thing you can almost feel it coming on. And you think, I'm not going to let it get me. So.
Yep.
And that was, they said, some dry crackers or an apple. I don't know why an apple, but maybe because of the texture of the apple or something, because you got to chew it. So I don't know.
As long as it's not a banana.
But whatever, it worked anyway. So.
Well, I'm glad you make it. Glad Harvey made it. And
I actually crossed the Atlantic as well. I went on a destroyer from Charleston, South Carolina, to the Mediterranean, and it was a 5-day transit. We were loaded heavy too. I mean, our magazines were full.
5 day. Wow.
And we were in 40-foot seas. The 5-inch gun on the bow was completely going underwater, and the propellers in the back were coming completely out of the water, and I was in engineering berthing, which was back aft, and we were confined to our racks unless we were on watch. And we had what they called hurricane straps, where you had to cinch yourself down in the rack. And every time those propellers came out of the water, the whole back of that ship would just shake.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, man, we're never going to make it. I was 22 years old.
Wow.
And my rack was actually in front of like 36 surface-to-air missiles, and we were going over there to provide surface-to-air support in Beirut, Lebanon, and that was the worst 5 days of my life. I was seasick the whole time, and when the guy comes over to tap you on the shoulder so you could relieve the watch, it was a bad feeling. Because the only thing I was eating was crackers and sipping water, and it's my watches that I stood. I had to go through the hull of the ship and take gauge readings and measure fluid levels on fuel tanks and water tanks, and the ship was taking 45-degree rolls, and there were literally footprints on the walls where people were walking on the walls to maintain their balance. And then once we got into the Straits of Gibraltar, it was like a lake. It was flat. I was like, hallelujah.
Yeah, that seasickness is a horrible feeling. And when I was on that one that was really bad, all I could think of, get off the ship, let me get in the water. Oh, it was bad. I mean, like he says, it was going up and down. You could see the water was up here one time, and then it was down there. It was, so I never wanted to do that again.
Thank you for coming out.
Thanks for inviting us.
Yes, it's been fun. Yeah.
Yeah.